Yeah, you know, I think when people look back at stories of friends and family, you see a lot of stories that don't always work out the way people planned or the way people dreamed. When I was a teenager, I knew a girl. She was really pretty, really popular. And I remember I was in class with her, and we were talking about science class. And the question was asked, like, what do you want to be? What can you be when you grow up or whatever? And so she asked if it was possible to be a marine biologist, and she's like, yeah, you can study, you can do that, and get involved with that. And I'm like, wow, yeah. Well, as time went on, um, that girl's life didn't quite turn out that way. And then, like, she had some problems with drugs and family life. And then she got sick, and I think she became a nurse, but she got sick and died around the age of 35. And the reason why that memory sticks is because she didn't achieve her dream. Now, you could argue, well, she just didn't fight hard enough for it, but the fact is that sometimes we don't get what we want, even what we most desire. And what do you do about that? How long are you going to live? You're not guaranteed. A lot of people think that they're going to have an average life and, maybe 72 years, maybe more. But you're not guaranteed that. When I was a baby, I had a heart defect and I had to have two heart surgeries. And essentially, if I didn't live in the right city during this time, I would not have survived. And there were things that just, there were collections that were taken up for me as a baby. But essentially, those aren't things that are guarantees. As you go through life, what are you guaranteed? There'll be good times and bad times. Sometimes you'll be happy, sometimes you'll be sad. Some people are sad a lot of their life. And then there's the promise of love. Well, at least you got love. And, you'll listen all day to the radio. It'll tell you love songs and love stories, and you'll watch a movie where the guy gets the girl and the girl gets Prince Charming. And in truth, that's nice, but that's not always the way it goes. Sometimes you get dumped. Sometimes you get cheated on. You thought this person was the one and that they would never do you wrong. And then they fail you. And you thought, hold on, what about my movie? What about my story? Don't I get to be loved? But not everybody gets to be loved. Some people have to get through life and they don't have that perfect match. Sometimes they even have somebody, but they don't have that perfect relationship either. What do you do? Aren't you entitled to be loved? Sometimes we just need the right advice, but sometimes the right advice is just not available. Or maybe it's not available when you're looking. Maybe it's disguised in some way. Some people are totally out in the left field and they live in a world that has more temptations than it has answers and solutions. I know people who were tempted and they were highly tempted when it came push came to shove and there was something right to be done. They just were tempted and they gave into it. What happens if you don't have the right answers? Some people live in a world that's peaceful, at least externally. Some people don't. Some people can be robbed any day or several days. Some people have their closest loved ones murdered and taken out. They had that perfect relationship they were wanting, and now that person's dead. What do you do? What happens when your hopes and dreams are burnt? You had this great business, you had fame and popularity, and all of a sudden it was just taken away. It's just taken away. Some people just want to be accepted. Some people just want to feel normal just for a minute. To finally feel as if they had dignity. To feel as if somebody wasn't going to take everything they had. Leave them in their darkest hour. And treat them like they weren't even human. Some people just want a simple life. They want some stability where they can know how to live the right way, do the right thing, and get by. Just a simple life. But then there's a curveball. Maybe they get a disease, maybe they get a disability. And even having that normalness is not guaranteed. Some people just want a reason. Some people care, but they want to have something to care about. They want to have a sense of purpose. I feel that life is just not. And they ask themselves, what's the point? Why do I even need to go on? You can play the game, you can win the game, but the prize is not that valuable. Some people have trouble keeping themselves alive because they don't know why. Some people just want to have control simply of their life. Some people want to be free and they just don't have freedom. Some people live their life in bondage, sometimes literally. What do they do when they can't? When they live a life behind bars or oppression? If they can't have liberty, do they say, give me death? There are people right now who are being tortured. But does anyone hear and does anyone care? There is a massive amount of darkness that has hit our world and culture. And in a few short years, we have lost the things that make us who we are inside. Where do you go? Where do you turn when all these things happen? What answer is there? Some may say that everything is just material, that it's all run by science, that they just need to find the natural explanation. Everything will turn out fine. Or at least that's what they hope. But why? Why do they hope? Why is there a purpose? Where did science even come from? Other people think that there is some sort of spirituality, and it's in all these things, and there's something that's better than the physical. Just don't know what. Maybe life is just an endless cycle, back and back, tick tock, tick tock, tick. But when does it end? What's the point of that? In this spirituality, there was a man who could have been a prophet, but he technically could not be a prophet. People know him as the Buddha. And he got to the point where he felt like there was a way of escaping the endless cycle. And he was finding what we call nirvana. Now, typically, people think of nirvana as if it was a Chinese version of heaven. But actually, that's not it. It's an escape hatch, a way of escaping endless cycle that never, ever, ever stops. It is like taking a gun to your ghost and blowing it into bits. Finding peace in obliteration, destruction. So not only does that have trouble for this life, it's trouble for the next life. Some people believe gods, pick their favorite god, search to find answers in the stars, but they can't find truth because truth is not lies. Somebody is lying. How do they deal with your broken heart, with your oppression, with your soul? can they offer you? Some look at God as a principle, as a power, as a creator, but not as a person. And they have some answers, they have stability, but yet they don't have the ultimate answers. Because those ultimate answers are a philosophy of a God that has nothing else. And if he had something else, then he would. Instead, they have no way to problems. But yet there is an answer. And that answer is in the man, Jesus Christ. I'm going to do this in a series because it takes a lot of energy, and I'm not hitting that energetic point. But before you entertain a worldview, you have to ask, what are the answers that are going to get you through your life and your test? It's not simply who's got the flashiest argument. It's what is going to heal your soul. Eventually.